Missouri does not want to repeal a mandatory helmet law that for over 40 years has been saving 42 lives each year. 75% of motorcycle riders support a mandatory helmet law. I can tell you, I am extremely disappointed that the legislature would have chosen to act on this law and to say that we are willing to pay the price of 42 more fatalities on our highways every year. To give you an idea, that is nearly the number of people that we save from the installation of median guard cables in the state of Missouri. This makes as much sense as going out and ripping out median guard cables on our interstates. It will have the same effect. More people will die on our roads in the state of Missouri because of this law, if in fact it repeals a mandatory helmet provision. A 50 to 99% increase in the deaths of motorcycle riders are what other states have experienced when they've repealed their mandatory helmet law. This makes no sense. It doesn't make sense from a personal standpoint. It doesn't make sense from a government policy standpoint. Missouri has a law that is working. The repeal of this law is saying that we want a continued increase in the number of highway fatalities on our roads, which have already increased just last year 13%. While fatalities on our roads have decreased steadily over the last 3 years, motorcycle fatalities have increased. Out of the 964 fatalities last year on our roads, 107 of them were from motorcycles. This repeal makes no sense. It's amazing to think that something this simple is saving 42 Missourians every year. This simple. It's not a great demand. And again, 75% of motorcycle riders in the state of Missouri support the mandatory requirement of motorcycle riders wearing one of these.
Helmets are a proven prevention method, and trauma, just like breast cancer, colon cancer, lung cancer, any other health problem you want to talk about, trauma is a disease process. We know how to prevent it in many ways, or at least lessen the severity of it. We know how to treat it, and we know how to rehab patients from it. So to turn a blind eye at this prevention aspect, again, makes no sense.
Every day of my life from here on out that has been meaningful has also been touched with sorrow because of the death of my father. The day I was accepted to medical school, I couldn't call him. When I graduated from medical school, he's not standing next to me. My wedding, my mother had to walk down the aisle alone with me. And most poignantly, my daughter, 6 weeks old yesterday, will not have a grandfather because of one mistake, because of not wearing a helmet. This is why we need this kind of helmet laws, because short-sightedness on the part of one person, and it's painful to call your father short-sighted, results in a widowed mother, fatherless sons, pain, loss, and just a temperance of sorrow to every wonderful day that you could have.
And the question that I began to ask myself was, how did I survive this accident? And indeed, the answer was, I think, fairly clear. The conclusion that the crash report from the Highway Patrol reached, the conclusion that my physicians, my friends, and I indeed reached was, had I not been wearing a helmet, I would have perished on that day. So I would urge the governor to do what I think is the responsible thing and the right thing, to continue to protect the citizens of Missouri and take what steps are necessary to ensure that we do have a helmet law in place. The government has a responsibility that's been accepted for many years to protect the citizens of the state. And I think that's what a helmet law does, because When an accident occurs and if there's injuries, it's not just the individual that made that decision. He may have made that decision that affects family. We all share in the insurance costs that rise as claims go through. People are submitted to medical care systems, which, as excellent as they are often overtaxed and overburdened. And so the challenges continue on, and therefore it's important that government take the step to protect its citizens and require a simple thing such as wearing a helmet, which will protect people, reduce the fatal injuries, and reduce the extent of injuries on accidents.
You've heard the reasons that we call upon Governor Nixon to veto Senate Bill 202. The consequences of the passage of this law are too great to allow this to happen.